Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing about something extremely significant and relevant to the situation we are in today, and that is the millions of unemployed people, especially in countries like India. India has over 90% of the total workforce in the unorganized sector. So, how do we organize the unorganized workforce of India? That is what we're going to be discussing about today. And I'm presenting to you my perspective. So let us begin by understanding what is the structure of India as a country. So India has 600,000 villages which are spread over 750 odd districts, and these 750 odd districts are within 36 states and union territories, and these 36 states and union territories have 10 mega cities, and in all we have 1.35 and growing billion and growing population. So this is where we are, and more than 70% of our economy is in the rural segment of India. Market segment is rural, and 90% of the workforce is in the organized segment. Therefore, you can see that there is a very large base and a very high volume that we need to address of the working population. And India also has one of the largest, youngest segment of the population in the world. So, we have a very high potential on the supply side, but it is not organized. And on the market demand side, let's understand the segments available in the country. So on market demand, we have number one is agriculture. As you know, 70% of the population is rural and engaged in agriculture and agriculture related activities in the agri ecosystem of India. Post independence, India had a very successful green revolution which set it up for the prosperity in the post independence years towards achieving food safety and an abundance of food supply and exporting food grains to other countries in the world. We had the green revolution and we had the white revolution, which was started by Amul, Anand Milk Union Cooperative Limited. So these were excellent examples of how an unorganized segment was organized in that particular time. Now it is time for us to rethink and recalibrate and look at what we need to do for India in the current circumstances, moving forward, looking ahead to accomplish our vision 2030 of emerging as one of the most dominant and soft powers of the world, and making sure there's prosperity for people everywhere in India and there is no one below the poverty line. So agriculture is a very big segment, followed by construction, hospitality, transportation, domestic or household help, healthcare, mining, supply chain and logistics, education, public sector companies, small and medium enterprises, and cottage industries. The famous example of cottage industries is the Khadi movement, which was started by Mahatma Gandhi. So, as you can see, we have a very thriving demand across the segments in the market. and there is a viable supply side as well. Now, what is missing is a methodology which is process oriented and systematic that can continuously process data into information, information into insights, and insights into actionable wisdom, so that people can be connected. The supply side can meet the demand side every time on demand through a technology oriented solution. We do not want to use technology for its own sake, but to solve the very large problem we have at hand. And the pandemic has exposed not only the healthcare system weakness we have, but also the fact that our unorganized sector are the worst hit in every single crisis that India faces. And if we can organize this in India, this would be almost true. This could be a cookie cutter model for most of the 150 emerging markets in the world. Of the 200 countries, there are only 50 advanced nations. So this is a compelling and important challenge to take on. So what is it that we want to do on the technology side? Today we have everything that we need in order to design a very powerful and dynamic self-learning system. So at the top layer, what you see here is a web portal and a mobile app interface. This of course has to be multilingual to accommodate all of the Indian languages with voice response, voice recognition capability. Application program interface to make sure there are linkages coming in from the ecosystem, and we are able to give linkages to the ecosystem of employment. A human machine interface which is enabled for touch, which is enabled for voice response. Artificial intelligence engine which is constantly learning from the data, self-learning from the data, and suggesting, making suggestions, creating matches, job matches, identifying anomalies in the database and user behavior, and many other use cases can be brought about using the AI engine. A blockchain database architecture is also possible today, and this would mean a decentralized approach, highly secure, and making sure that the best of talent in India gets really a large problem to work on to try their hand at making the blockchain technology work for India. And the databases which already exist in India with the government as well as private and public companies is the biodata which is coming from the Aadhaar database. India has the largest Aadhaar citizen identity database in the world today. Government data for every citizen, such as voter ID, for example. Ration card is another example. Geographic data of the location where the person is domiciled. Skill data we need to create. Health data we need to create. Insurance data we need to create. Job data we need to create, and travel data we need to create. This is in context to the unorganized workforce. Of course, records exist in the organized sector, but here the focus is to address the unorganized sector. So we need these databases. And once we go ahead as per this schematic with a comprehensive approach on the solution building and making sure our solutions are scalable and relevant even in the near future, this has been proposed. Now, on the supply side, what is it that we need to do? number one is we need to register. Number two is to provide basic training. Number three is provide skill set relevant. After the basic training is done, identify people's ability and then start to skill them in their abilities or the potential ability that we identified during the training sessions. Then provide them with job placements and then develop a employment contract, a smart contract, blockchain based, so that we can have history of their employment on our technology platform. So this is the overall idea, concept. Now, how do we execute across a large country like India? So the nodal centers to make sure that people within the villages are made aware and are also having an access point to interact is we have to tap the 600,000 panchayat centers or the village administration units which is available in every village in India. The village administration center or the panchayat and the district officer who is responsible for the set of villages in that particular area, a collection of villages, will be managing this entire process of implementation on the ground level. So the village panchayat officer will have to make sure that the database is populated with all of this information starting from Aadhaar. And the Ministry of Skill Development has already instituted many schemes for skilling across the length and breadth of the country. So we need to pull all that data together and bring everything in a cohesive and coherent manner to make sure that the technology platform as a single window of output and the inputs are controlled in the back end through an ecosystem approach, using the best of technology and using the best of technology minds that we have in the world today working for India to solve this problem. So this, I think, is the need of the hour, and if companies can put aside the CSR budget and make sure that the CSR budgets of all corporates in India are working towards organizing the unorganized workforce, it would definitely help the country. It would also lend itself of great advantage to the industries themselves, as they are the benefactor of having skilled and trained human resource. And we will be able to uplift the population all across India from below the poverty line to universal basic income, to make sure everybody has a good chance to live a healthy life in India with access to education and equality, liberty, and freedom of life. Thank you.